Dev leaned closer, eyes bright, and added, "Enjoy yourself. Don't be too kind to our daimyo this time." Her laugh carried a wicked edge, perfectly in sync with Sub's and Glyph's mirth. I smirked. "Oh, don't worry. I plan to be very creative." They all laughed, the sound echoing in the lab. And even as I walked toward my pod to dive back in, I could feel it, the electricity of anticipation. The bamboo maze, the molten resin, the fire, and now the automated rain. Everything was primed. It was going to be spectacular. The courtyard greeted me with rain. It was constant, heavy, soaking through the stone tiles and the burnt husks of bamboo that had once lined the maze. No fire this time. No environmental tricks to save me. The devs had patched that out, and I knew it. I stepped forward, katana in hand. No summons. No armor boosts. Just me. The bamboo daimyo emerged from the fortress gates like a phantom of the storm. His golden and green armor glimmered under the downpour, bow already drawn. An arrow sang through the rain, and I ducked low, rolling across the slick ground, water splashing. My blade caught the second arrow, splintering it in two. I rushed in, strike, parry. His katana flashed out with inhuman speed, meeting mine in a shower of sparks. He shifted instantly, throwing a kunai at my ribs. I twisted aside, felt the sting across my arm. The first blood was his. The fight was raw. Every blow had weight. My counters were precise, but not perfect. Twice he broke through, once with a crushing katana strike that rattled my arms down to the bone, and again with a follow-up combo that sent me sprawling into the mud. I got back up, teeth clenched. My armor integrity dropped fast. Every mistake cost me dearly. I carved into him where I could, slipping under his guard with low sweeps, shoulder checks, and slashes that chipped away at his massive health bar. But there was no rhythm to him, no pattern to exploit. Phase 2 came in like a thunderclap. He roared, armor plates snapping into place, katana gleaming brighter. His speed jumped. His strikes turned into flurries. I managed a desperate counter, katana biting into his side, sparks and blood mixing in the rain. But my timing slipped. Too slow. The daimyo-S blade cut into me in a devastating arc, draining nearly a quarter of my integrity in a single hit. Another arrow followed, then a rushing charge. I tried to parry too early, and his katana smashed through my defense. The HUD flashed red. Alarm screamed. I staggered, barely upright. He pressed me relentless, raining blows down until my last desperate block failed. And the world went black. You died. The bamboo daimyo stood victorious in the rain, bow lowering as if mocking me. The pod hissed open, and I sat there a moment, drenched in sweat like I had actually been caught in that rain. My heart was still hammering from the defeat. The HUD echo of "you died" clung to my mind like a taunt. The lab was dead quiet for half a second. Then, wait, did you just... Sub leaned forward in his chair, eyes wide with disbelief. Tell me you didn't go in with nothing. No shadow clones, no armor boosts, nothing? I did, I admitted, voice flat. Jin groaned and pinched the bridge of his nose. You're insane. Insane. You had 5 level 10 shadow clone samurai at your disposal. Do you know how much firepower you just left on the bench? That's kind of the point, I said, pulling off the visor. I wanted to see what it felt like, straight. Just me and him. Dev's caramel complexion flushed a shade deeper, but not from embarrassment, frustration. She crossed her arms tightly, her eyes narrowed. Do you realize how much coding work we've had to do to patch the bamboo maze fire exploit? And you just decide to take him one-on-one. No boost, no safety net? Yeah, I said, a small smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. And I almost had him. You did not almost have him. Glyph barked out a laugh, shaking his head. He wrecked you in phase 2. I watched your armor bar nosedive like a kamikaze. It was brutal, man. Still, Sub muttered, drumming his fingers on the desk. His grin started spreading, the kind he got when an idea sparked. That was actually kinda epic. The way you held your ground, trading blows in the rain. No gimmicks. That's the kind of footage we could use for promo material. Jin shot him a look. Don't encourage him. The whole point is balance testing, not reckless heroics. But Dev, who hadn't stopped glaring at me, finally sighed, her shoulders slumping. You're impossible, you know that? Every time I think I've got you figured out, you find another way to break the rules or ignore them. I shrugged, meeting her eyes. Guess it wouldn't be me if I didn't. The room broke into mixed reactions. Sub still chuckling, Glyph smirking, Jin muttering about wasted data, and Dev shaking her head, somewhere between exasperation and reluctant admiration. Sub was still chuckling when he spun his chair around. All right, so let's put it to a vote. Does Tester go in again raw? No boosts, no clones, no armor? Or does he actually play the game the way we design it? Jin snorted. There's no debate. He has to use the tools. The whole point of us grinding stats, upgrades, clone systems, it's not to let someone stroll in naked with a katana like some samurai purist. It's to survive the fight. Glyph leaned back, smirking. Except, I kinda want to see if he can do it. You saw how far he pushed Phase 2 before the daimyo clipped him. That's not nothing. If he learns the patterns tight enough, maybe he pulls off the impossible. Patterns? Jin snapped. The whole point of this boss is no pattern. That's why the daimyo cycles between weapons. He's chaos by design. You don't fight chaos with stubbornness, you fight it with options. Like, shadow clones and molten resin arrows. Sub raised both hands like a referee. To be fair, Jin's right. But a solo no-clone run has marketing potential. Players love watching the one guy who says, I don't care about the meta, I'm doing it my way. That could go viral. Dev finally cut in, her voice calm but edged. We're not turning this into a spectacle. This is testing. And from a test perspective, him fighting bare bones isn't useful. It's basically just wasting time and frustrating me. Her caramel cheeks flushed darker as she turned toward me. You promised me you'd stop breaking everything on purpose. I lifted a hand in surrender. Not on purpose this time. I just wanted to see if I could measure myself against him. No gimmicks. No clones. Just me. Glyph chuckled low. Man, you sound like a martial arts movie monologue. Yeah, Sub laughed. Next thing he'll say is, I don't need victory. I just need to test my spirit. Huh, I said flatly. Dev shook her head, sighing. Okay, here's the deal. If you want to try again, Raw, fine. But once. After that, you fight him properly, with your upgrades, your clones, everything. Jin grumbled but nodded. That's fair. At least then we'll have useful data. Sub leaned back, smirking. And if you do pull it off Raw, drinks are on Glyph. Wait, what? Glyph blinked, but Sub was already grinning. I couldn't help but smile, feeling that old stubborn fire burn in my chest again. Deal. The rain was already falling hard when I stepped into the bamboo courtyard. No clones, no armor buffs, just me, my katana, and the sound of water hitting stone. The bamboo daimyo emerged from the mist like a wraith, his emerald and gold armor gleaming wet under the storm. He drew his Yumi in one fluid motion, the string groaning, and a cutscene triggered, his deep, booming voice rolling across the drenched courtyard. You who dare enter my fortress barehanded, prove your spirit, or drown beneath the bamboo tide. The bamboo maze shuddered to life. Green stalks burst from the wet earth, twisting into tall corridors. In the shadows, faceless bamboo figures began to stir. Fodder soldiers, brittle yet countless. Phase 1 began. I dashed forward, water splashing around my feet, katana flashing under the lightning. My blade rang against the daimyo's katana as sparks sprayed between us. Every clash threatened to crush my guard. Every mistimed counter rattled my wrists. His switch to kunai came fast. I dodged left, the blades hissing past my ear before sinking into the mud. I pressed harder, carving shallow slashes into his armor. His health bar ticked downward in painful slivers. When he shifted to his Yumi, I closed the gap, forcing him back into melee where his rhythm faltered. But then the cutscene hit Phase 2. The daimyo slammed his sword into the ground, shouting in a voice that made the maze quake. Rise, my bamboo legion. Walls of stalks shot higher, closing me into a shifting labyrinth. Dozens of bamboo figures lurched from the walls, their hollow eyes glowing faintly green. I fought desperately, weaving between attacks, slashing through fodder one after another. Each kill bought seconds, but seconds weren't enough. The daimyo's arrows screamed through the maze, splintering bamboo beside me, forcing me to choose between deflecting figures or dodging projectiles. By Phase 3, Both of us were bleeding stamina. His health bar dipped to 3%, mine dangerously close at 8%. Rain hammered down harder, the fire of my earlier run replaced by choking steam and mud. I cut through another figure, then another. My muscles screamed with fatigue as I moved, sword heavy in my grip. And then, a bamboo figure lunged from the blind spot behind me. Its jagged strike ripped across my side. 8%, 6%. I spun, killing it in a single furious slash. But the instant my guard dropped, whip, an arrow pierced my shoulder, driving me backward into the mud. I gasped, trying to rise, but another figure clawed out from the wall. My vision blurred. My katana slipped from my fingers. The screen went red. You died. The bamboo duo silhouette loomed in the rain as my body faded into mist. His voice echoed one last time before the cutscene ended. Even the boldest spirit bends before the storm. Back in the lab, the VR pod hissed open, and I sat there drenched in sweat, fists clenched around nothing. I had come within a breath of victory, 3%, only to fall because I turned my back. The VR pod hissed open, and cold lab air slapped me in the face. I sat there, drenched in sweat, chest heaving like I'd actually been sprinting through that storm. My hands still felt like they were welded to the katana. 3%. That number pulsed in my head like a wound. I could still see the bamboo silhouette in the rain, the glow of his bowstring, feel the sting of that last arrow tearing me down. My health bar had been at 6% when that bamboo fodder clipped me. One turn, one mistake, and then the arrow finished me. I dragged my hands over my face, muttering into my palms. 3%. He was mine. The lab doors slid open. Voices hit me instantly. Sub nearly tripped over his chair as he bolted upright. No way. No freaking way. 3%. Bro, you almost soloed the daimyo with no buffs, no armor boost, no shadow clones, just raw? That's cracked. That's straight cracked. He smacked the desk, doubled over laughing. Man, I swear you're insane. But legendary insane. Hell. Jin crossed his arms, his voice calm but sharp, like he was a coach breaking film after a bad game. You turned your back. Rookie mistake. That's why fodder exists in boss design, to punish tunnel vision. He didn't beat you. You beat yourself. Come on, Sub shot back, still grinning. Give Tester some credit. That was balls to the wall insane, and he almost pulled it off. That deserves a freaking medal. Glyph leaned forward, watching the replay in silence, eyes narrow. His tone was heavier. He could have won. He was reading the daimyo clean. Had him in the corner. That's not just luck, that's skill. He exhaled, shaking his head. That fight, that was guts. And then death. She hadn't said a word. She just stood at her terminal, arms folded tight, biting her lip as she replayed the death sequence over and over. The arrow, hitting me. The pause. My collapse in the rain. When she finally looked up, her voice was softer than the rest, almost too careful. You almost broke the fight, Tester. If you'd stayed on the daimyo instead of turning, she stopped, sighed, and shook her head. A tiny, almost shy smile tugged at her lips. Only you would come in with no boosts, no clones, and nearly walk away with it. You're insane. Sub barked a laugh, clapping his hands. No, not insane. Legendary. Tester's gonna make history in this game before we even launch. Jin muttered under his breath, or crash it, one of the two. Barely heard them. My fists were still tight. My pulse wouldn't slow. 3%. Next time, the bamboo daimyo wouldn't see me fall. The pod sealed around me, the darkness washed out, and the world of the game bled back into life. Rain hammered the bamboo courtyard, each droplet hitting my armor like a drumbeat. I opened my inventory and checked. I noticed an item I hadn't used before. I flexed my grip around the ebony blade katana, and the HUD shimmered to life with one new icon pulsing deep red. The ancient Oni mask. I felt it before I even pulled it from my inventory, a low, vibrating pressure in the air, like the world itself braced for it. When I slid it over my face, the horns locked tight, and the eye slits glowed faintly. Instantly, the bamboo figures at the edge of the courtyard shivered, their movements breaking. A hiss of fear. Even coded constructs couldn't stand against the aura. Lower-level enemies stumble back, weapons trembling.